look at that. You nearly made the clapping till I got to the microphone. It was too late now, wasn't it? The moment's gone. It was like, oh, this is such an effort. This is nice then, isn't it? We were going to turn these lights off, but then there's so many beautiful people on this side of the room. Wow. Basically, that's it. So welcome to Alcester, and thanks for coming out on Friday, is it? Honestly, I haven't got a clue what the days are anymore, because I'm retired and there's like, every day's a weekend, it's just brilliant, so it's buzzing a little bit. It's still buzzing, that's alright, we can live with that. Yeah, thanks for coming out, and have we all been to this gig before? Yeah. No, we haven't, so apart from this young man here, who else hasn't been? You haven't been?
You won't be when you leave.
What I think is going to be best if I just fuck off and leave. Just chat amongst yourselves, because that was far better than any material I've got.
I know, I've seen you before.
I'm so sorry. You have been before, haven't you? Yeah. Oh, haven't you? So it's you and this young man. Was there anyone else? Okay, so what we do, because we've been doing this for 3 years, just for the new people, just one by one, you just stand up, introduce yourself to me. So we might as well start with you. If you just want to stand up, young man, yeah, stand up, yeah, stand up.
I'm the fox. Everybody wants to know I'm the fox.
That's a big fucking fox, mate.
Sorry, be careful.
That makes no difference.
Smaller fox.
And where are you from, young man?
You're
Anybody understand that? Well, you're very welcome. And Virgin Madonna, what? You've got to stand up and address. No, because we've got to do it properly.
Hello, I'm Linda.
And what do you do? What? Right, listen, you just, because I missed that. A pole dance. So what, Craig, when I told you this was an easy gig, honestly, we haven't got to do material, just hand the mic over. Right, so thank you for both standing up. I've got to be honest, in the 3 years we've been doing it, no one's ever fucking stood up, so that's the result. So listen, yeah, if you haven't been, the format of tonight is, we've got 3 fantastic acts. We'll have your first act on, then we'll have an interval, then we'll have your middle act, and then another interval, and then your final act, and then you can all go off and do whatever it is. You're doing Ulster, pole dancing and killing chickens and stuff. That sort of stuff. So is that alright with everybody? Good. I mean, it doesn't matter if it isn't, because that's what's happening, regardless. So it is nice to be out. I've got to be honest, I've had it's been a bit of a tense week in our house this week. Started Tuesday, so she didn't speak to me all day, and I knew there was something up. You know when you just get that intuition like that, and it wasn't till about 7:15 as I was going out the door, when she just said, so we're not celebrating our anniversary. It's only been 25 years, and she hasn't reminded me. That wasn't really my fault, was it? I said, no, it didn't happen. We were going to go out, but she's done something to her neck and her back, and she's got something called ray neck. I don't know if you experienced that. And I said, how much of a pain in the neck is it? She said, it's awful, the pain's unbearable. And I was like, well, you know what I feel like for the past 25 years. That wasn't well received either. That's always going to split the room, isn't it? Because the women are thinking, you fucking twat. And the blokes are thinking, you're brave. It didn't happen, honestly, it didn't happen. So I haven't done this gig since May 2024, because we did do one earlier this year, but I couldn't do it, so the mate did it, and I think he said it was all right. Was it all right? Was he in May?
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that then. So since May last year, a few things have happened. Got my bus pass. Yeah, what a joy that's been. I'm from Gloucester, right, and if you can imagine travelling into Gloucester on a bus full of poor people, it's just... Well, no, they are, because they're all below me, you know, and I'm not fucking judgmental that much, but I don't want to hear their conversations about their medical problems and finance and affairs and why all the immigrants should be hung, drawn and quartered. And that was a genuine conversation by one bloke who was obviously talking to his mate, and he had it on speakerphone. And it was absolutely bloody vile, this conversation. And it was quite a tense journey, because the bus driver was clearly an immigrant. And I don't know whether it was just coincidence, but when this bloke went to stand to get up and walk down the bus, all of a sudden the driver put his brakes on really hard, and he shot down and smashed into the window, and I thought, fucking brilliant, that's... So I ended up having a day in Gloucester, and I don't know if you've ever been to Gloucester, but that's depressing in itself. Because so many things have changed, and I just sort of hanker from the past, and especially, we used to have a local newspaper called The Citizen, and it used to be brilliant, and there were some great stories in The Citizen, and that's all changed now. Just to give you an example of what some of those stories were like. It was probably only back in the 80s and 90s. I've written a few down, right? And there were some great journalists at the time. So this first one, this was all they wrote. A pensioner who was given a suspended sentence for drunk driving turned up drunk at a drunk driver's impaired drivers programme. That was it. I thought, that's brilliant. This next one, I think this says more about the police in Gloucester than anything else. The trust body of a missing man was found in the River Severn this week. However, police are not treating the death as suspicious. Here's another police-related one. This was genuinely in the paper. A mouse hunt was launched at the police headquarters, and panic stations were manned after a worker spotted what they thought was a rodent in the distance. A search team, including a maintenance man with a ladder, were deployed. What the fuck was he going to do? And then they were stood down when it turned out to be a ball of fluff. And you just... But my favourite story was this one. Firefighters spent 7 hours rescuing 2 cows from the Severn yesterday. Onlooker Mike Walsh said, "We saw one cow go in and it was struggling. Then another cow came to help." But it fell into, so we phoned the fire brigade. It didn't fall into help. I've completely cocked that bit up, I don't know what I said. Bless, thank you. See, that's what happens when you get old, you get confused and not a fucking clue what's going on. But we did spend some time in Gloucester, and because I'm retired, we go out for a lot of coffee and stuff, and I do like sort of people watching, and I like doing this job, and I like watching people come in. And I've come to the conclusion that by and large, most people are just out and out cunts, to be honest. There's no other polite way of putting it. It's just, honestly, they're horrific. And I think what would make my life, I think I'd be far happier. I've got to be honest, I think I'd be far happier if I was allowed to carry a taser. I think that would solve a lot of problems. And this isn't in any particular order, but there are certain groups of people that I think need tasering, right? I get particularly wound up if I'm watching The Chase and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and contestants don't say please or thank you. I think that's just absolutely shocking. I get particularly wound up with shop assistants who've got stupid inflection in their voice. Mostly females, I've got to say. No, it's true. I get particularly wound up with anybody who starts their sentence so... If we've got people in this room who probably do that, not in the first, obviously. People who use the word hollybobs instead of what the fuck is wrong with it? It's holidays, right? People who use Xmas instead of Christmas. White kids who want to talk black, they just want shooting, not tasting. Kids on electric scooters. They need fucking old people on mobility scooters. They're even worse. You go to Gloucester City Centre, you take your life in your hand if you go 100 yards. You've got these old bastards whizzing down the street, knocking people left, right and centre. But I'd probably reserve my most hatred for people who've got dogs. I'm a dog owner myself, let me just clarify. People who've got dogs and then they don't pick up after their dogs. That's right. And I've got to be honest, and I'm sorry, I don't want to be judgmental. Most of these dogs, they are not proper dogs. Right? They're the cavapoos of this world, the cockapoos, the labra fucking doodles, or as we called them in the proper old days, mongrels, right? Because that's a fact, that's what they are, they're not fucking proper dogs. I've got a dog, I've got an Irish Terrier, that is a proper dog, that's a full-on dog. And sometimes if I see somebody, and they haven't picked up after their dog, right, I will call out, I can't help myself. I was like, mate, your dog's shit! And they'll turn around and say, oh sorry, I'll pick it up. I went, no, your dog really. We were out the other day in Costa, and for me, this all sums up what happens when you get older. Me and my wife, we were watching this couple, right, and we were probably in there 40 minutes. And they were in there, they were having coffee and cake, and for 40 minutes, look, we got to about 22 minutes in, they hadn't said a word to each other, right? They were just eating, drinking, nothing. And then the bloke just said 2 words to his wife. Cake all right? She didn't even respond. Nothing. Another 18 minutes went by, and they just got up and left. And my wife looked at me and was like, is that what we're going to become? And I'm like, become? We're fucking we're there now, so we're not like that. We've not got to that stage, have we? And then our reminder of something she did last week. And I think this shows what our relationship has ended up as, right? Because we had sausages and mash for tea. That was lovely, absolutely fine. Had the tea, did the washing up, I cleared away. I'm sat in watching the TV. And she comes in. I thought we might like this. She gave me the sausage wrapper. I said, what's this for? Well, I thought you enjoyed them so much you might want to see what was in the ingredients. And I'm like, do you think that's how fucking bored I am? With my life? That was a new bit of material that won't be making an appearance. Actually, I quite like the sausage wrapper thing, because it did happen, but obviously it just didn't fucking work in this room. That's absolutely fine. So now I've got you to a state of comedic frenzy. I'm just going to go off and cry and think about another new bit of material that will equally be as unimpressive. Just watch some of you scratching your heads and looking at me blankly thinking, what the fuck's he on about?
Well, letting the wife do it.
Have we got an interpreter in the room?
No, sorry. What about letting the wife do it?
What about letting the wife do it?
Yeah.
What, this?
Yeah.
No, she is absolutely shit at jokes. She is absolutely shit at jokes. So I tell her jokes, right? So I'll just give you an example. So I told her something the other day. I said, this white horse walks into a pub, he said, I'll have a pint of lager, and the barman said, we've got a whiskey named after you. And the white horse said, what, Bert? So she said, right, because she's Welsh, she said, right, I'll try and tell that joke. I said, okay, so this is an impression of my wife telling the white horse joke. this horse walks into a pub and he said, "Oh, my name's Bert, can I have a whiskey?" Right, and that's it. Absolutely shit. No idea whatsoever, so no, she won't be making anybody else. But thank you for your concern. I'll FaceTime her and tell her you were asking after her. I said, we've got a fox in the room, a silver fox asking after you. That'll be alright.
Thank you.
Pleasure. So listen, are you ready for your first act of the evening? I'm delighted this show man's come down to gig for us tonight. I've known him for years and years. Yeah, that has been a long time actually. Please make him very welcome, the lovely Craig Dealing.